start this video off by saying Happy Independence Day to my fellow American viewers. I hope you all had a great one. Personally, I did absolutely nothing. In fact, currently what I'm doing now, this Independence Day, is actually just recording, so that's kind of funny. But yesterday, as you may know, was Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, or at least yesterday as of this video being recorded. I don't know when you're watching this, but it was my very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Day, actually, that I ever went to. I always miss it every year because I just never know when it is until it already happened, which is very, very unfortunate, but I managed to go to the one yesterday, and I'll go over, before I do the deck profile, I'll probably have the time stamp up that you can skip to. Before we do the deck profile, I will just go ahead and, like my sneak peek video, tell my matchups and everything. So my matchups ended up being, my first one was Subterror, Guru Control, whatever. And it was like the Dragoon heavy one, and he has like 2 Dragoon. One's coming in the mail, but like still, it was pretty insane. I also had Shadal's stuff in there, and I ended up winning, I think in game 3 with 100 life points, which was really funny. I ended up just going for a full Dugar's Pentastag OTK. I'm very lucky I lived with the 100 life points that I did. Very good player. Also, he has a YouTube channel. I might link it down in the description because I'm a very generous and kind person. Moving on. My next matchup was a Cyber Dragon player. It was his first tournament, but obviously he knew what he was doing because he had shit like Nibiru and Ash and everything. So it was a pretty scary matchup. I probably would have lost if he would have resolved his Verite Anaconda, but thankfully I had drawn Gamma the turn prior and I tributed Pankratops to have no monsters, so that was really nice. I think that ended up being a 2-0, I don't remember exactly. And my third and final match before we had to leave, unfortunately, Javon ended up having to go to work, so we didn't get to play like the full day. But I still made top 8 apparently. I get Field Center next time I go to the card shop. But my third matchup was Heroes, which I ended up losing, admittedly, in game 3, I believe. Or maybe, no, I think it was game 2. I think it was game 2. But I ended up misplaying, right? So while I was packing up, because we had to leave like very quickly because it was like 9:30, you had to work at 10, I ended up summoning Oviraptor off of Misk while I had Baguska in defense. So unfortunately, that was pretty awful. And I realized my mistake as I was looking through my deck to summon Ovi, and I was like, okay, banish 4, summon a level 4, fuck up like an absolute idiot. So that was very unfortunate, but I still, even though I missed the last round, ended up getting a top 8, which I knew I would. I think it was like a 4-rounder. So that's nice, at least get the Field Center next time I go, hopefully. And then I didn't get the raffle mat. They said if our names were pulled for the raffle with the ticket, we'd still end up getting the mat next time we came. One of my friends at the shop, he plays water stuff, but he was playing Fluffle in that tournament, which was hilarious, which, as you may know if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, I am in love with Fluffle. It was my very first, like, relatively competitive deck. And he ended up getting the mat, which was really cool. I'm very happy for him. It was a really nice mat, honestly. Not as good as my Dark Neostorm sneak peek one that I unfortunately sold, but it was still very good. So yeah, technically went 2-1. Probably would have went through XO, but like I said, I made a really bad mistake on my part. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile. And this is the first major change that I've made to Dinosaur in a long time, so you might be refreshed to see how it is. And if I don't mess up my microphone placement, there we go, let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with our level 4s like I usually tend to do with my deck profiles. We have our 3 Oviraptor, our, unfortunately, single copy of Miscellaneousaurus, and then of course our Giant Rex. So this wasn't my first tournament with 1 Misk. It was actually my second. I thought the fucking ban list was supposed to go into effect on the 8th, but it was actually the 1st. And so when I went to locals right before round 1, I mentioned, oh yeah, this is my last tournament with 3 Misk. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right. And then he was like, wait a minute, no, the ban list came into effect on the 1st, didn't it? And I was like, I thought it was the 8th. And then everyone was like, no, it's actually the 1st. And I was like, well, I'm actually brain dead then. So I ended up having to cut 2 Misk. Thankfully, I was playing 42 cards. But I actually did really well then. I ended up topping, but we ended up just splitting it. But 1 Misk actually wasn't that bad. So it's really easy to recycle. I'll go into that a bit later. But even without that, you know, the boards I can make with the scrap engine, because yes, this does have the scrap engine. My locals one didn't have that, but the Yu-Gi-Oh! Day one did. With the scrap engine, you can just kind of survive a bit better, and there's more plays you can do other than Banish Force, Summon Ovi, Burr. So, honestly, having one Misk isn't the worst thing in the world. The problem was never searching it, really. The problem was just having it late game. Just try not to go into late game, really. And then, obviously, Ovi at 3 makes sense, and then Giant Rex at 1, never play him more than 1. I keep drawing him anyway, which kind of sucks, but, you know, Giant Rex is still a very good card nonetheless. On to the babies, hoping my camera won't die. We have 2 Animadorned Archosaur, 3 Baby Sarasaurus, and then a single copy of Petite Pteranodon. So I am opting to play 3 baby even with only 1 Misk because it comes up way more often than you may think. So drawing baby, and especially multiples of baby, is always really good, as long as you don't like prick on them, obviously, and draw like 2 baby, 1 Pteranodon like I always seem to do. But having 3 baby is really good because going through the combo, right, you're mainly going to be going through like 2 copies of baby and then 1 copy of Petite, or 3 copies of baby depending on what you play. And I like saving the Pteranodon for like my Tyranno target so that I can pop it and then get a Pancratops instead of having to waste the Pteranodon on something as trivial as, like, you know, an Oviraptor if I don't have to. Let me focus really quickly. I'm sorry, I don't think that was in focus properly. But having 3 baby comes up a lot. Also, like I said, just having the extra in hand as a Tyranno target to pop, so you don't have to pop something on field or just pop a meaningless monster. I really like it. I really do. And then we have our big boys. Of course, we have 2 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, 1 Dogoron the Mad Flame Kaiju, and 1 copy of Dino Wrestler Pancratops. So I am, in fact, still opting to play the Dogoron. I know a lot of people, including Sam, have opted to cut the Dogoron, but I think right now, Kaijus, like if you watch MCTV and PAX's latest video on the hand traps and stuff, and then going second cards as well, Kaijus are really good right now. Atagnister starting to rise up, they die to Kaijus. Drytron dies pretty hard to Kaiju. Sky Striker dies hard to Kaiju. I feel like Dinosaur is one of the only like good decks right now that doesn't really die hard to Kaijus, which is like ironic. But not only is it a Kaiju, it's also searchable, and it's not even that big. And even if it was big, you know, Tyranno can flip it. And then Pancratops, oh my god, dude, I love this card. I keep going to this card more and more. And I love this card going second and first, because if I get full combo and have an extra body, like I can get like a Petite or something, I can just go ahead and then pop it. Sorry if the audio kind of fluctuates. I'm trying to like have the mic off a bit to the side, so I don't want it in my way, but having the extra Pancratops as a disruption is very, very nice. And then I'm still playing 2 Tyranno. I was almost tempted to go to 3, but, you know, I think 2 is still a really good number to have, obviously. Like, it's not really something I want to see at 3 as much as I wanted to maybe the last time I wanted it at 3, but, you know, it's whatever. And then on to the Scrappy Boys. We have our 2 copies of Scrap Raptor, and then the Chimera that I spent my life savings on, basically. I traded a lot of stuff out of my binder and like all of my store credit at my local card shop to get this, because they thankfully had one when I was just perusing and looking. But wow, the Scrap package is so good. So even ignoring Chimera, having Raptor as an additional pop, and then like also just being there as a relatively large body, comboing is really easy with this card. If you open Misk Baby Raptor, that's full combo, because it, like, in most situations you don't want to draw the Raptor, right? But in that situation it's fine because you can still normal it. If you draw it in Lost World, that's full combo, you know. Unfortunately, it does suck to draw it sometimes because you kind of want to special it. You don't want to waste your normal on it. You want to waste it on something like Ovi or Archosaur, because on its own, it doesn't do anything. You have to have the other body on board. But I've been thinking of bumping it up to 3, actually, because of that, but I don't want to brick on it. And then Chimera is a really good card. I wouldn't say it's like $60 good, but it's a very good card. I wish it didn't say you could only synchro scraps with it. I almost said junk. They're basically the same thing. But because I was playing Scrap Dragon until I got my Omega, but I wish you could go into Omega or something with this, but unfortunately you cannot. So it's just nice to have as well, though, as an extra body. You can go into Dweller, Baguska, Tornado Dragon, Appaloosa, Dugaris. You can go into anything that isn't your Evil Czars, but, you know, it's still a very good card. Like I said, getting the extra revive, and then it's a body for Appaloosa. But I'm very happy with how the scraps perform. They help me get through so many hand traps. They bait a lot of hand traps, and I am very glad that I have them now. So that's it for the regular main deck monsters. On to the hand traps. So we're still playing the Gamma package with the 3 Gamma 1 Driver. We have 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and I am still opting to main the Artifact Lancia. So admittedly, right now, compared to the last 2 formats, Lancia has not been a very good card to main. In fact, if I get a third copy of Droll, I'll probably end up maining that instead because Droll shuts down more things. And also, I like maining Droll. It's hilarious when people see that you main it. But maining Lancia is still decent right now. Again, I'll probably cut it to Droll, but I'm still pretty fond of it over anything else until then. And then Gamma, this card overperforms so much. I keep never understanding why I keep dropping it. Because drawing driver isn't the worst thing ever. It does kind of suck, but you know, you can always just pop it. But now when you play Omega, because Omega is basically mandatory now instead of any level 8 synchro that's generic, yeah, literally you open Misk Baby Gamma, and you kind of just have the win guaranteed, really. Because not only do you now not have to waste resources to go into Omega, you also keep the Gamma alive and everything. It's a free negate, and I'm considering playing Lambda because of it, just because of how good it is, but I'll have to think about it, and then Ash is Ash, obviously, so there's really nothing to say about that. Again, I might cut the Lancias to 3 Droll, but it did okay, I guess, at Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. It didn't really do too much. I think Gamma, though, has been overperforming out of all of my hand traps, and I'm very happy. And that's it for all of the monsters. Very hefty monster lineup, especially now with the scraps. So now on to the spells. We have 3 copies of Lost World and 1 Terraforming. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I finally cut the Mystic Mine, and you know what? I really didn't miss it as much as I thought I would. So I am playing 40 cards now, and unlike my usual 42 or 41. And because of that, I wanted to play Upstart Goblin so I could better draw into combo pieces. Also, I had way too many one-ofs, like the Twin Twisters, you know, the Mystic Mine, the Driver, the Dogoron, all those one-ofs that I don't really want to draw too often. And Mystic Mine was one of those, the one I could cut the easiest. So I ended up cutting it, and I went with Upstart Goblin instead, which was really nice. I'm very glad I did it. I think I saw it only once, actually, that tournament, but I drew the Dogoron off of it, which I needed at the time. It was against the Hero Player Game 1, which was really funny. But honestly, Lost World's the only one you really need. Mystic Mine, it's pretty good, but like I said, I just didn't want so many unnecessary one-ofs, and I'm glad I did what I did. And next we have 3 copies of Fossil Dig and 2 copies of Double Evo. Pretty standard. I still want to shiny bump my Fossil Digs, but yeah, 2 Pill, never want to run more than 2, and then Fossil Dig is Fossil Dig. And then on to our one-ofs, we have the 1 Twin Twister, because I'm still a baby bitch that's scared of back row, and, you know, especially things like Mystic Mine and just control matchups against things like Eldritch and Invoke Dogmatica Shaddoll, Zodiac before Dryden got banned, you know. Those are always some of the worst matchups for this deck, because back row can blow you out, especially if it's something like Icy Dragons. So, yeah, Twin's still very good. It overperformed like always. 1 copy of Called by the Grave. Konami, please bring it back to 3. You haven't even confirmed Crossout Designator yet, and I'm very angry. Like, come on, bro. And then 1 copy of Upstart, which again, I only saw once, but you know, the one time I did, it was very helpful. So that's it for the main deck. Like I said, 40 cards. I wouldn't change it, at least not for now, except for the Lancias, maybe the Drolls, but it did very good at Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. I'm very happy for that. And now for the extra deck. This probably went through more changes. Then again, you know, that also went through changes in general. I'm terribly sorry if I just bumped my microphone. I don't know if this microphone picks up the boom arm rattling, but the extra deck went through a lot of changes, especially now that I don't have to play Extrav, so let's go ahead and get right into this. So for the rank 4s, we have 2 Dolka, 1 Logia. I still very much like Logia. I don't see why people are starting to say not to play it. It's bigger than Dolka in both attack and defense. It's a judgment. It stops your back row matchups. Very good. I'm still playing 2 Dolka as well. I still don't want to play 1. Maybe someday I'll bump it down to 1 because with Appaloosa you don't need as many monster negators, but still a very good card nonetheless. And then 1 copy of Abyss Dweller, finally bumped it down to 1 because I don't need to play multiples anymore. Still a very good card though, also overperforms all the time. And then, I'm not packing those up just yet. 1 copy of Dugaris, you know, for that OTK. Dugaris overperforms every single tournament that I go to. It's an absolutely insane card. I love it so much. Still haven't used the non-battle phase effect, but it's whatever. 1 Tornado Dragon, because again, scared baby bitch of back row. Also, this card, I would like to argue, is better than Nightmare Phoenix. This card is absolutely broken. And then 1 copy of Baguska, because it wins you games that you shouldn't. This is probably one of my most upcoming candidates for the chopping block out of my extra deck, other than 1 Dolka or maybe Secure Gardena. Because I still don't have Savage, and I kind of want to play Savage for the extra back row negate potential. So I might cut that, might cut Secure Gardena, might cut 1 copy of Dolka. I'll also have to probably play test a little bit and see what that comes down to. Onto the Link monsters, we have 1 Link Karibo, because it's Link Karibo, and 1 Secure Gardena. It's so refreshing not having to play these guys at 2 now without the extra. Oh my god, it is so so nice. I don't go into Secure Garden very often unless I'm forced to go into regular Dino combo. Like I said, it's probably one of the reasons why it's on the chopping block, but it's very nice against Mystic Mine because they can't burn you. Like, once per turn, you take no damage, and most of the time, they're not going to have both Cauldron and Wave Motion Cannon, so, yeah, and it doesn't activate either, which is great under Mystic Mine, so there's that. And then the Scrap Wyvern, ooh, this card is so good. Such a nice piece of legacy support. The effects are both really good. You know, special a guy, pop a card you control. It can be a baby. It can be, obviously, the Scrap. Then the Scraps, like the Raptor trigger, searches your Chimera. Wyvern specials a guy, and then pops a card in the field, which, again, can be your baby. It can be a Lost World token that you can inevitably protect. It can be itself. It can be something on your opponent's field that you need to get rid of that's a problem. And I'm pretty sure, let me read this properly. Yeah, it does not target. So things that are protected from targeting removal, this is actually really nice against. Unfortunately, it can't out Dragoon, but it can just out things that can't be targeted in general, which is very, very nice. So I really like this card. I'm glad my friend gave it to me for free. That was awesome, even though it's only like a couple bucks anyway, but it would have saved me a lot of hassle from getting it at like online or something. So, well, the one Pentastag, you know, for piercing, I went into this a lot. I always go into this a lot. If I need to go into a generic link too, I usually just go into Phoenix just so I don't waste Pentastag, and it's always a great idea. Speaking of Phoenix, here's the one Phoenix and the one Unicorn, both very good cards for removal. I go into Unicorn a lot more than I anticipated to when I first put it in, so I'm very glad I play it, and then Phoenix is kind of there as more of a generic link too than back removal, not gonna lie. And then the one copy of Appaloosa. It still feels weird playing Appaloosa and Dinosaur because I never liked it with Lost World, but if I have Lost World up, I usually just don't go into it. I just go into something else unless I have an extra material to make it at least have still 3 negates. But very good card. I'm kind of glad I played it. Now I don't have to go into Dolka as often. I just wish it didn't get immediately onslaughted by like Pankratops and Dark Ruler and stuff. And then finally, the one copy of Omega. Again, I don't have Savage Dragon, but I am so glad I picked up Omega right before the tournament started. Oh my god, this card is so good. So, not to mention the fact that it recycles your Misk back into Grave, which is really, really good. It's also a hand rip, and I feel like hand rips right now over negates are very good, and especially considering it banishes, and then it comes back during your next standby as an extra body for either link material, punching things, another hand rip, all sorts of stuff, and then you can abuse the effect next turn to put Misk back in Grave again if you need to, and you can just go into it so easily with Scraptor. It's 2800. I love Omega. Oh my god, this card did so well. Please don't play Dinos without it anymore. And that's gonna have to do it for the deck profile. I am very happy how it performed at Yu-Gi-Oh! Day. I definitely want to go again at a time where I don't have to leave early, so I might do that next year. But for now, that was an amazing experience for me. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to, you know, maybe keep you updated more on Dinos if the deck changes a little bit. Sorry, I'm messing with the cards a lot and kind of keep them, like, perfectly on screen. There we go. I'm probably not going to update this for a while, actually, because there's really nothing I'd change other than the Drolls, but, you know, that's probably going to do it for my last Dino video for a while. So yeah, that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to hit the like button. It helps put this video and the channel into the YouTube recommended. And if you like this content and you want to see more like it, like the rest of my epic Yu-Gi-Oh! Content, perhaps consider subscribing. We're on our way to 1,000 subscribers by next May if we can. The amount of support we've been getting on the channel is absolutely astounding. We were at 115 at the start of last month, and now we're at 175. That's 60 subs in like a month. I am so happy and I'm so grateful. Thank you all so much for the growth. I hope we can continue at this insane rate. But for now, this is Aurora signing off.